Hi guys and welcome back. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make this pear and almond tart. Let's begin. To get started on the recipe, you'll want to grab yourself a food processor and place in your flour and butter, then pulse the two together until they are combined. You are looking for a sort of breadcrumb consistency, somewhere between breadcrumb and sandy. That's what you are looking for. Once you've achieved that, you can then add in your egg and sugar which have been mixed together, add all of that in and then just pulse it until a dough forms. You don't want the dough to be fully formed, just coming together. Then you can knead it on a surface and bring it into a ball shape, and then you're ready to use it after about half an hour in the fridge. So once it's had the time to chill, you can then place onto a lightly floured surface and start to roll the dough out. You want to get it to around the same thickness as a pound coin. A little bit thicker will not hurt, but do not go any thinner than that, otherwise the pastry may be a bit too delicate to work with. You may think there's a lot of pastry left over, there will be, but you can always make another tart with it. You can then go ahead and use the same rolling pin and roll the pastry back up on itself over the rolling pin and grab your tart or pie dish. I'm using just a standard black one, which is I think it's about 9 inches, and then just drape the pastry over it, and then you'll just want to gently and carefully press the pastry into place so it's getting into every curve and bump. You're not looking for it to be perfect, but if you can achieve perfection on the first time, then why not? But then you'll just want to press it in, and then you can trim away the excess, or I found this handy little hack that if you roll the rolling pin over the top, it does that bit for you. Don't throw away the excess, you can use it for another tart, or freeze the dough as it's perfect for freezing and using it at a later date. Trim away the excess, and then you can duck the bottom of the pastry using a fork. This just stops the pastry tart from rising up while baking. Then you'll want to blind bake the pastry, but before you put it in the oven, you'll want to grab yourself a square of parchment paper and just press this into your tart, ensuring that it's covered all of the sides and the base. Then you can go ahead and fill it with baking beans or rice. I find rice really useful as you can buy it pretty cheaply, and that's what I use. Then bake it off for around 10 to 15 minutes. While you're waiting, you can then make the frangipane filling. For that, you just want to grab yourself a medium-sized bowl and place in your butter, granulated sugar, the ground almonds, the flour, and the eggs. And if you want to, you can use some almond extract. Again, you don't have to use this, but it's up to you, it just adds to that almond flavour. You can then go ahead and just start to mix it all by hand. Feel free to use a hand mixer if you really want to, but I find mixing it by hand gives you that bit more control, and you'll be able to see when it's ready. You don't want to over mix this, as otherwise it will be a tough textured cake. So once you've got your frangipane made, you can then set that aside until you need it later on. Once your pastry case has had its 10 to 15 minutes, you can remove it from the oven and remove the beads or the rice that you placed in there earlier on. Place them aside as they will be very hot. You'll then want to place the pastry case back in the oven for around 10 to 15 minutes or until golden brown. So while you wait for your pastry case to finish the blind baking process, you can go ahead and get your pears ready. So just to prepare the pears, you'll want to take the core and the bottom off, and then just peel the skin off the pears and then chop them into roughly around like 8. So you'll want to cut the pear in half, half and half again, just to remove all of that bit that's in the middle. There's probably more efficient ways of cutting it, but you just want long thin strips of pear, something similar to this. I'm probably not doing it the most efficient way, but if you know a better way, then feel free to do it that way, but this is the way I know how to do it. Once your pastry case has finished its blind baking process, you can go ahead and start the assembly of the tart. So fill the case generously with the frangipane filling and just spread that out until it's pretty level and consistent throughout the case. And as you can tell, there's a little bit of butter, but just mix that in and it'll be fine, or you can remove it, it's really up to you. And then just spread it out until you've got a consistent layer. Then you can start topping it with the pear slices. So I find doing this the easiest is just to play around and see which way works for you. So put one in, then you don't want them to be overlapping as much, just close together, as the frangipane filling will raise up a little bit and the pears will sink in. As for the middle bit, you'll want to make it a bit neater, so just cut them a bit shorter and you should be able to get in more neat than I did, but again, you don't have to. You can then bake it off. I will leave all the baking times temperatures in the blog post, which will be linked down below. Once it's baked and fully cooled, you can then go ahead and brush it over with some apricot glaze. This is just to give it a more appealing finish, and it helps to preserve the tart and keep it fresh, so it locks in all that flavour and just adds a nice sheen that makes it look appealing to the eye. As an optional finish, you can go ahead and take some lightly toasted flaked almonds and just sprinkle them around the edge of the tart. You don't have to do this, but I feel like it adds a bit more texture, flavour and makes it look a bit more interesting, and they'll stick perfectly due to the glaze being there. And then here is what the tart looks like once it's fully baked and finished. Something similar to what you'd see in maybe a patisserie or a cake shop or somewhere that would sell just pie and tart. Then you can go ahead and slice it up. It's really quick, really easy, and just a really nice tart. So if you're looking for something different, this is the recipe for you. So thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more from me, and I'll be back again soon with another recipe, so join me then. In the meanwhile, don't forget to check out the description. There'll be a link to this recipe, a link to my blog, and links to all my social media, so don't forget to go and follow me over on there, as I am trying to be a bit more active. But that's all for today, I hope you enjoyed. Bye guys.